Domino.
Chicago Baseball Podcast, Week 16 review, Week 17 preview. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, executive producer, the champion of the cardboard box in Bass Lake.
Dress up.
Dressed up. Best dressed up for the cardboard box race in Bass Lake. Maddie, what's up? Kids for the win. What's up?
Domino, we finally did it. We got the worst player in our league on our podcast. We finally did it. You know, we all everyone thought it was gonna be Memo or Ken, but no, it's actually Niz, and we did it. It's awesome. I'm so happy for this week. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, no, I won Vogue. The award that I won was for the Vogue, the best themed, best looking, best put it all together. That's what I won for. But yes, my boat was horrible. I sent everyone pictures. It didn't sink and it didn't get water in it, but I couldn't paddle worth shit because there's a giant fucking horns on it. And yeah, next year I'll do better, I guess. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. So,
well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And then our guest this week is Niznik, the worst team in fantasy baseball in Chicago. What's up, Niz? Welcome back.
Where am I getting the worst?
I'm just
talking what my executive producer told me. He says you're the worst.
Just like Dom to believe everything that Maddie says and not challenge him on shit. Come on, Dom.
It was a joke. You didn't get it, did you? It was a joke.
You've just been having rough to go at it. I'll give you that. That's for sure.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce my guest topic early.
Oh my God.
When you're 0-10, beer won't do it. Whiskey is what I bought for this podcast because I'm going to drink this whole bottle during this podcast because I went 0-10. That's my guest topic.
Wait, I wasn't looking. Well, let's see this bottle. All right. I like that little Jim Beam rye.
So cheers, people.
Hi. Hey, that'll be a fun guest topic. News getting in shit face. So,
it's gonna be
all right, we will move on to non-fantasy baseball news. Trade deadline's Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time. We had a couple trades go down. We had the Twins get Romo and Chris Valema. And then the Mets obviously got Stroman. They gave him half their team. And then other than Pete Alonso. And then it'd be interesting if Cleveland's going to sell. The Giants, they were sellers, but they just took 2 out of 3 from San Diego this weekend. There's some nice pictures of Patty Boat. Interrupting my topic, as always. Do the Yankees get a starting pitcher? Does Greinke, Robbie Ray, Bauer, after he's throwing balls over the center field wall? Does Noah get traded? So a lot of trade stuff, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, no one's like, I mean, there's been, I guess the only trade that's really been somewhat relevant is it's talking fantasy baseball too when I say relevant, but is the one that just happened, the Mets in Toronto, right? Is there another relevant one?
Why that's buying anyways? That's my question.
What?
Why are the Mets buying? I thought they'd be selling. I thought Noah was gone.
I did just see something on Twitter. Someone said now the Mets have all the pitching. Like, how did they say it? They just said they have all the cards now in the pitching aspect of things for trading. How is it? Do they?
Yeah, Stroman was what I had heard earlier in the week that Stroman might have been going to the Yankees because he's the best available. Like for what they see that he's end of life contract type of deal. So Stroman was the number 1 guy. So besides maybe Noah, and now that they have both, it's like, okay, it's kind of a weird thing, but oh well.
I mean, is there a team?
Is he going to get moved? Is Trevor Bauer going to get moved? Is Robbie Ray going to get moved? Greinke? Are those guys going to get moved, do you think? Or
I don't think the Giants are going to sell anything. If anything, they'll buy some like bench piece or I could see them getting someone like I don't know, VR, for example. And the Cubs just came out and said that they're going to have, what's his name, is going to be back in a month, and Ben Zobrist. So now they're not going to get anybody. Oh, and the Tampa Bay picked up Sogard, right? So I don't know. I honestly, I see nothing happening until Wednesday afternoon, and then 2-3 big trades will go down. And then what are you pouring in there? Coke?
Listen, you got me now where I'm semi-coherent. You might as well ask my baseball thoughts now, because it's going to be Maddie's a douchebag by the end of this thing. I'm just letting you know.
That's going to be if you weren't drunk. So.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's a little weird with the one trade deadline, right? And I don't know. I all those questions you asked, Dom, I honestly I have no idea. It seems like everyone's sitting back and waiting, and with the second wild card, that we've had now for a little bit of time, and I really don't know. I don't know. And I don't know what the Mets just did. I wish I'll just say this. I wish the Cubs would have went out and got VR, someone that could lead off and steal some fucking bases. And I wish that one team that had a lot of good players would sell it to another team, and that would be fun. And it's fun to see. Like, hey, fuck, if the Mets do it, if the Mets give Wheeler, Noah, and what's it called, and Stroman to like San Francisco, and San Francisco gives them, everything that they fucking have, which isn't much, but everything they have, that'd be fun to see.
That'd be really like our league. Like,
yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Our kind of league.
Those are the two things, like, that's it. Besides the Cubs going out and getting someone to lead off, or like some crazy weird trade happening, I don't even know. And those
let's forget anything that happens between now and Wednesday. Who and this is non-fantasy topic. Who's winning it this year? Who do you think the teams are?
For who's going to win the World Series?
Huh?
Did you just crack at me?
No, I went like this.
Oh, I think quack. I don't know.
I'm not there yet.
I don't know. Maybe the Dodgers, the Yankees have no starting pitching. Maybe they get Severino back. You have no idea. But they have no pitching.
I don't know why the Yankees didn't go after Stroman. The Yankees should have.
Who didn't? I think they probably did. It sounds like the Mets gave them whatever they wanted.
I don't know. Weird.
I think what Dom said, the Dodgers, every time you hear these teams and people talk about them in the postseason, I think the Dodgers have been consistently, at least what I've heard, there's they talk about the Dodgers rotation staff in early July, how they're waiting for the playoffs. They're how many games up right now? So I don't see them even making a trade unless you guys do, but I don't. I know they want actually the Dodgers last I heard they really wanted the Pittsburgh closer in their bullpen. That's insane, by the way.
We're kind of like Atlanta. I don't know.
I could see it being Dodgers and me crazy that'd be a horrible World Series. The Dodgers and Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, no, that at least LA is a big market team, that's somewhat watchable. Dodgers have got some players and stuff, but Minnesota, there's no.
I don't think they have the starting pitching. They have a good bullpen. They got obviously tons of power, but I don't know if they got starting pitching.
They got some. Or what about if it was
feels like it's our league. Everyone's starting pitching.
Yeah. Give me fun. It would be an Atlanta Tampa Bay World Series.
Yeah, see, that would be a bad that would probably ruin baseball. The ratings would be they'd consider folding after that. It would be so bad.
Or what about I can't even think.
Tampa, Minnesota. There you go.
Yeah, that would be bad. No, that can't happen.
That can happen.
Anyway.
Anyways, we'll move on.
There you go.
It'll be interesting what happens on Wednesday. I think Wednesday's going to be afternoon's going to be a big. Tuesday probably a lot of whatever happens on Tuesday is probably going to dictate what happens on Wednesday. And we'll move on to some fantasy news. Maddie, what do you got for fantasy news?
Just talking about it, and I was looking actually kind of Ken put in a bid for that shortstop, Gavin Lux, and I was thinking about it, and I think last year, I had a good idea that I was going to make the playoffs, and I did, but it wasn't. I didn't think I had a good enough team to win it, and I was debating picking up a couple 2-year guys. That's all I had left was a couple 2-year contracts, and I didn't pick any of them up. And the one guy I was actually thinking of just picking up to put it on a 2-year because I really wanted him was Pete Alonso, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go into the draft, and that's my guy, and I don't care how much I spend on him. And I'm looking back at it, and I'm like, man, I kind of wish I would have put him on a 2-year, but now he's really good, and he's, you know, he's definitely worth the 17 in my opinion, and I like that I have him for 4 years, you know. So I was going to throw this out to you two guys that if you're out of it, or not out of it, but maybe like on that bubble, you know, I like, for example, Dom, you might be on that bubble. Niz, you're fucking out of it. And
still, that's
but here, what my true question was, let's say you had like Ken, he's got a bunch of like 2-year contracts, and then like someone like Max, he does have more contracts, but I'm just gonna kind of like look at it. He's in 12th place, definitely out of it, and has like a 4-year open. He has some more money. What would you rather have, like 4 or 5 2-year contracts, or like 1 4-year, maybe a 4-year and a 3-year? How would you like to build your team for next year? If you were, like I said, maybe you were like on the bubble, or maybe you're out of it, but I think you could get a. They're just looking at the landscape of things right now. There's like those prospect guys that you can watch and say, oh, this guy's going to be it. But you can only have 1 4-year contract. If you had 5 or 4 2-year contracts, which a couple teams do have or did have, and you could pick up, like I just picked up the Dodgers catcher. I would love to put him on a 2-year. I didn't have it, but I picked him up. That'd be a player like that. Some players that already come up or like close to being in the bubble. I'm not saying these players are going to be amazing players. What would you guys rather have? A couple, like 3 or 4?
2 years.
2 years?
It's a numbers game. You know, you have a ton of you have a ton of players that you can sit there and you can, you know, like you're playing the odds at that point. You're going, one of these guys is going to hit, and you got him at a low price, and now you have a guy in on the 3rd year that's eligible for what's it called, the franchise tag too. So I mean, that's what you're really shooting for. Is you're hoping for like if you would have done the Pete Alonso, you know, now you've got, think about it like this: you got Pete Alonso for 4 years for 17, or you could have had him for a total of $13 if you would have did him last year. You know, yeah, I'm sure it worked out well for you and stuff, but like a lot of guys are probably kicking themselves that, hey, I didn't pick up Pete Alonso last year and at least put him on a 2-year contract, and I could have franchised him in another year, you know?
Yeah. I mean, these are just a couple of guys. Don't get me wrong. Some of these guys I would love to have on a 4-year contract too. But if I just had like multiple contracts, you know, 2 years, like Nate Lowe from Tampa Bay, or I don't know if I'm saying the right name, but whatever, Tyler O'Neill and like Alex Verdugo, they might hit, they might not, you know, but instead of having like those 3 guys, maybe you go out and get like a Gavin Lux or a Taylor Trammell or a Franklin Barreto, even, I don't know, Christian Pache, Isaac Diaz from Miami. I don't know, but you could only pick one of those guys, and you know, it's true. I don't know. I just looking at it, and I saw what Ken was doing. I hope he's trying to, you know, he puts him on a longer term deal, or maybe he'll just get fined.
Yeah,
What?
That's if Ken picks the player that he actually bids on, not get fined. But I think this is right. I think at least for baseball, it's definitely a numbers game, where football you can have that one stud that could win you most weeks. Where baseball, unless you have like guys like Trout or Yelich, Benintendi, you need multiple guys. One guy can kind of carry your team, but in the long run, you're going to need more than one guy to carry your team.
Yeah. Well, I'm also saying though that you don't know
Right.
all these guys. You have no idea what they're going to be.
Right. But I think you idea of getting the gold with having a 25% chance, and then out of they have one guy. I think your odds are better of finding a stud compared to hitting the right guy.
Yeah.
And all working out. So it's interesting.
Yeah. And it's not. I mean, people are still picking up people, so that's kind of nice to see. With 5 weeks left, so it's cool. I like it.
All right, we'll move on to this week's matchups. We'll start with you and Sean. Big win for you, and you didn't make up any ground. You actually you didn't make up any ground because Scotty also had 8 wins. I was wrong about you losing offense. Sean having an okay week with 36 runs, 11 homers, 38 RBIs, 354 OBP. Pitching was average, 68 Ks, 130 WHIP, 4 quality starts. Then you, 43 runs, 17 homers, 46 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 339 OBP, and you lose. 87 Ks, 116 WHIP, and 7 quality starts. So solid win for you, and you make up no ground.
I know, isn't that fucking crazy? I was looking at that the whole week, and you were beating Scotty, and I was looking. I'm like, all right, I got a shot. There was even a time in the week I think I was in first place, and then it just all went to shit. But how many games am I back right now? Like as of before this week started, is it 4?
You were 4 back.
Yeah, and I'm 4 back right now.
Yeah. So you guys realize I can't say shit right now because I lost 10-0. My team sucked. But
you can say whatever you want.
But you got a team that won a week on 7 home runs. This is the shit I'm talking about, Scott. Your team's not that good.
Why don't wait for Scott?
We're not on Scott's team. We're on mine and Sean.
Scott. Oh, I thought you were talking Scotty and Don. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll talk about Scott's below average offense.
I know.
Yeah. But we're talking about how great Matty is. You got to talk how great Matty is.
Yeah, okay.
How bad Sean.
Hold on. Do your yoga move and try to suck your own dick. Go.
No, I mean, I had a really good offensive week that some of it came out of nowhere. I'll be honest. Like some of the players I was looking at, like Turner finally started hitting for me since I've got him, and VR it just had one of his crazy weeks. Nelson Cruz went bananas.
8, 6, 12, and 519.
Yeah, and I was like, when I was watching Cruz hit that, he hit the 3 home runs, and hey, I text out, is this good? And then everyone else did it because there was 4 days in a row where there was 3 home runs hit back to back to back to back. So that was the first time that ever happened. But I honestly think you need one of your players to go off in a week to have like a great week like that, and you're gonna dominate. And if you do, like, look at Sean, how many times Yelich went off for him, or I know so I mean we've seen it before, I guess is what I'm saying, and it helps a lot. That's the most of it. But if you look at some of my other guys, Robles did pretty good for me. I had him on the bench most of it. Urias I just picked up. I had him on the bench. Players like McNeil, he did okay for me. I got a home run, some RBIs from him. My pitching was great. Suck my own days, but I had 63 innings pitched with 87 Ks. And I sat 2 guys. I could have had, I think, 93, 94 Ks if it would have mattered. Saves are crazy, though. I was just going to say this real fast. They're more than a crapshoot. It's just, I don't even know what to say. I think I had 2 guys. Kirby Yates didn't pitch for 2 days, and someone else got the save. And then, I don't know, got 2 saves. So
Kimball got you 2. Could have had a third. Or sorry, Kimball got you 1.
You got a blown save.
None. Yeah, Evaldi got you none. And then Yates got you none. So.
Well, hey, just throw this out there. And I said this maybe in week 5, but Sean's team still good. Not saying it's not, but he's gonna find himself. I feel like he is gonna find himself looking at not a first week bye in the playoffs, and I think he's gonna be a one and done. He'll be in the playoffs for sure because it's there's not that much time left for him to go that much farther south. But I can see him being a one and done team.
Yeah, well, Drew, he had a 6.5 game lead on Drew, right? And then Drew just made up, 2 on him?
Yeah, I think he should have 4.5, 5.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, Drew had 4 wins. So he picked up 2.5, 2. So, you know, it's gonna be interesting why that race because it's gonna get close. It's getting close now.
Yeah, and then yeah, so it was a good win. I thought my guys were coming to run again. My pitching's been pulling it for me. I think I looked at it. That's like the let me see this real fast. Just for me. See this where'd it go? So in the last which sucks since I lost to Memo in week 10, I've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row.
Very nice. Very nice. And you're still chasing Scott.
Yep. This is crazy. Crazy.
But that was a big win for you, and that's something you wanted to do against Sean. So,
yeah.
Rough week for Sean, but solid week for you again. We'll move on to Niz and PJ. I don't know what to even say here. I thought Niz was gonna win big, and I was wrong. Huge win for PJ. Major problem for Niz. 32 runs, 8 homers, 30 RBIs, no stolen bases, 303 OBP, 3 saves, but that was pretty about average for that. But the ERA of 6 and a WHIP of 164, only 3 quality starts. So, not trying to rub salt in your wounds here.
Oh no, this is my team taking a shit right now. So,
but you're getting caught by the IL for sure.
Yeah, you did. You did.
IL didn't hurt me. Gallo and like really, in all honesty, what's his face? Gary Sanchez really hadn't done anything since he came back from the All-Star break. But like power, I have power on my team. Like my offense to do that bad, pretty bad.
Freeman and Devers, those guys are studs.
Yeah, his team did well. 16 home runs, 41 runs, 384. I mean that's hey, great job, buddy. PJ, you had a good week.
Yeah,
my team did the opposite. My team went and shit the bed, and like if you look last week, my team was great, but it just I don't know. Like this was,
like the thing is, like you're talking about your team. Does you have power in your team, and I don't deny that. I think you do with Devers, Springer, Puig. I mean, I still think he's going to go on a binge someday. Hunter Pence he was pretty good for you. But the guys that so Rosario, like I was saying last week in the podcast, he's 10 home runs. He hit 2 of them last week. So before last week, he only had 8 home runs.
Yeah, but you can't have top to bottom home runs. I got to have a steal threat out there somewhere,
He's your steal threat?
He is, but apparently.
How many they got?
Yeah, you're right.
All I'm saying is you have him and Pollock on your team playing instead of well, you always have a Rosario, but I think going back to what Dom said, I think it was the injury bug that hit you. Yep, Gary Sanchez maybe has not been good since the All-Star break, but at the same point in time, he was doing amazing for you, and he was your power threat. And Gallo, I mean, the guy was, he's amazing. I still think if you look at Gallo and you look at Springer and where they're ranked, is ridiculous with the amount of games they played. It's just stupid.
Yeah, listen.
You can't. All I'm saying is you can't think you're going to have a team that's going to compete against mine and Scott's and Drew's team. And with Pollock, who's inconsistent, just came off the IL for a year and a half.
With Pollock, I've been playing the hot hand.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with Pence. You have a lot of hot hand guys on your team. You have Marwin Gonzalez, Rosario, Pollock, Pence, to the point Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I mean, he's been hot or cold. And then outside of that, you got your studs. You got Freeman. You got, I'll even say Trey Mancini's been a stud for you this year. Puig, I think, he's a hot hand too. So not Puig, but Sanchez and then Gallo. That's only 4 guys and 2 of them on your IL.
And you got Stella. He trades for Stella.
Yeah, your trades were horrible. Like everyone that you traded got a better deal. I'm just gonna go on and say that.
I mean, you had this week, but other weeks you had bad luck.
Hey, man, kick a guy while he's down. That's fine.
You lost over to 10. I mean 10-0, whatever. I mean, come on, that's bad.
You know, PJ had a great week. PJ did have a great week.
He did not. No, I'm gonna stop you right there. There's no such thing as a great week when your ERA is 5.25.
Right, offense. He had a great offensive week.
He did. He did have a great offensive week.
He had a great offensive week. Yeah, pitching, other than the 5 saves and 5 quality starts, he had a bad pitching.
Yeah. I got to give PJ a little credit too. I mean, the guy that I don't know. I'm not going to give him credit, but I know I reached out to Scotty. I reached out to Niz on this one too, but I was trying to get Altuve from him, and he was selling him like he was something hot. And I'm like, dude, that guy's not been good for 2 years. He's not stealing bases anymore. And
but this week he did well, right?
But no, he has been doing well. Last 2 weeks he's done well. That's crazy.
But to take $40-something on him next year, that'd be.
I know. I'm just saying I needed where my situation where it was.
Right.
I didn't believe in the guys I had. I guess to a point. Right. So, but
right, well, sorry, Niz, you had a
shitty week.
Team shit themselves.
Okay, so playoff wise though, I am not out of it. I'm only like 2 games away from 6th place on this.
You're not in it right now. How about that then?
Yeah, I'm not in it right now.
And for the last 2 weeks you've lost.
I have. The last 6 weeks I've lost. Like my team is. I think
he lost to Drew twice. He's lost to Ken or tied Ken. So yeah, he's had
I've been taken. So it's tough.
But you still have a shot. So that's all you ask for.
That's yeah. I guess I should have not. I should have sold, right?
I would have if I were you.
No, you wouldn't have.
If I were you and your team you had with the players you have for like next year and things like that, and the 1 year guys you had, yeah, I would have sold. I think you could have got a better investment, or you could have got better players, and you would have had a better chance. We won't have to labor this too much, but for the longest time, like you cannot win pitching. I'm sorry, your team is not set up to win pitching against mine, Scott's, or Drew's. And I feel like we're the 3 best teams in the league. Even Sean, I'll go and say Sean on this. Your pitching staff cannot play with our pitching staff. I'm sorry, they just cannot. And all 3 of us got better in pitching, where you did not. Well, I don't know if Sean did, but
I traded for Chris Sale. How do you say I did?
But one guy, Sale and what's his name? They got who did you trade him for? Or you traded away Caleb Smith. I'm sorry. They could have the similar weeks. It's very possible those 2 guys could have similar weeks. And look what Sale did. He had 11 innings, 17 Ks, and had a 6.35 ERA. Good job. I'm just saying, like I don't know why you traded for Max Fried. First off, it's just a horrible trade. Why you could have got? I mean, why didn't you try to get Steven Matz from him? That was way better than Max Fried. And then I don't know.
Chris and Drew.
What?
Chris and Drew.
Let's move on to Chris and Drew. 4-4 tie here. Very similar offensive numbers.
Drew
43 runs, 15 homers, 42 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 368 OBP, 86 Ks for Chris, 116 whip, 9 quality starts for Chris. Wow. Drew, 47 runs, 15 homers, 67 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 5 quality starts, 127 whip. But a solid tie for Chris this week. I'm sure he wish he would have put these numbers up last week, and he would have helped himself. But he does get some help from this. So,
yeah, I'm gonna tell you. You tell me the play just off the top of your head. Here's these numbers, and you tell me what player's which. 5 runs, 1 home run, 5 RBIs, 0 stolen bases, a 308 OBP, or 5 runs, 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, and a 448 OBP. Which one is Votto? Which one is Didi Gregorius?
Didi Gregorius is speed.
Yeah, the second guy, obviously.
Okay.
Votto's
Whatever.
been shit this year.
I never should have traded him, DD. I thought I gave him a great player. Drew's team is stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 66 RBIs. That's
67 RBIs.
67 now.
Sorry, he got another one somewhere. I didn't add it in yet. But
that's-
it's crazy. He got 47 runs, 15 home runs, 67 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and only a 349 OBP. He's got players on his team to dragging him down. I mean, 340. I mean, yeah, 349 is like what's the average OBP? Like a 360, right? So.
Yeah. Remuto dragged him down. 227 OBP. Remuto. That's only 324. Then he had Correa with 154. So
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, he played him for 13.
yeah,
bad.
we got 1 homer and 5 RBIs out of him. So we played him for 3 games. But yeah, that's what killed him was Correa and Remuto. Those 2 guys that hurt his OBP.
Yeah.
But he's got a powerful offense, and then pitching that can hang in there. It's not great, but it can hang in there. Not going to hurt him.
No, not like Niz's team.
But like we said, Drew.
like literally, it's the worst week for me to be on this podcast.
But Drew picked up 2 more games on Sean, closing it to what, 4 games.
Yeah.
So that could be an interesting race for if Sean can hold Drew off or not. They face each other at all.
I was. You know what?
I should have looked at that.
Yeah, I was just about
Look
to
at
do that.
last week's. We got last week's, right?
I got next week's up there, but I was gonna standings or
last week's Max's.
they play each other. No, they don't play each other the rest of the season.
Okay. So that'll be yeah. So that'll be interesting. I think he might be able to catch him.
I think so. You might be right.
It would have been kind of cool if they would have faced each other, but I think Drew has a shot to catch him.
I think so too.
Is there anything?
Nope.
All right, then we will move on to Memo and Dave. Ouch. Memo helps himself out. Moves up. 9-1 win over Dave. A hell of a offensive day for Memo. 49 runs, 20 homers, 49 RBIs, 358 OBP, and loses. Whip of 0.19, ERA 154. Dave 41 runs, loses 12 homers, 39 RBIs, 361 OBP. A scary 9.23 ERA, but he's playing for next year. But Memo just really helped himself in the standings. And looking at what he's got left with starting pitching, he's got DeGrom. He does have Rodriguez, depending on who they're facing. I would stream him. And then he's got Caleb Smith. And then Goldschmidt looks like he's been heating up. But those are 3 starting pitchers that won't, if he plays them right, could pitch well other than DeGrom.
Yeah. He's got some closers still. So it's not a complete dominant kind of pitching staff, but he's got some pieces in it and they could do well for him. I mean, if he plays like this, he might lose the quality starts and the Ks, but he's going to win the ERA and WHIP. So he could, get lucky and win saves and call it a 50-50 or in the pitching, he would call it like a tie, or he would win 3 out of 2, I guess.
Did you see Goldschmidt doing that well for him though every year or every week?
Well, he's coming back. I mean, he's been a late starter the last couple of years.
God, like 9, 6, 13, and 387. That's
I mean, again, I don't think he's gonna hit 6 home runs, but I can see him hitting like 5 or 6 runs, 2, 3 home runs, and maybe even 10 RBIs. I don't know, or 7 RBIs in a week from here on out. I mean, he could go on a tear. He's one of those guys. He did it last year. Could go on an absolute tear. So, and I like his team. I mean, Riley's been really, really, really bad for him lately, but I still like him a lot.
You loved Riley. I thought that was your boy.
Yeah, he is, but I traded him away for a fantastic starting pitcher who's not doing well right now. But I mean, he's got a great team too. I mean, I like his hitters, I really do. I don't like Eaton at all, but he's been doing well for him. It's crazy. Is this the first year Adam Eaton's been healthy? But between Bogart, Soto, Edwin Encarnacion, Goldschmidt, and Moncada, I mean, I think he's got a decent chance of making a good run for it.
And he's got Eloy back, and he's got he's got solid offense for sure.
Yeah.
And then, he's got some good closers, and then he's got DeGrom, and then he's got some other pieces where starting pitcher where he can stream them.
I will say his closers are not like. I don't know if Romero is going to be the closer there in Minnesota. He might be taking over. If he does, I'm probably going to drop the other guy I got. But the closing, the saves will be hard for him to come by, I think.
But Memo really did it to himself all season. Way he managed his team and mismanaged his team. So but this week could put him right back in it. So it's gonna be interesting now with these next 5 weeks. Niz, him, Chris, PJ, them finding out. So I think PJ's good, but Niz, Chris, him finding out could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Niz, you have to crawl out of that 8th spot. 70, 83, and 7. It's bad when your first number is lower than the second number. But I like it. You got Niz and Memo both sitting outside the playoffs, and they're going to be fighting hard and strong to get in. I know Niz will. I don't know about Memo, but
no, I'm out. I'm just going to bench everybody.
That's the bean talking right now. We'll move on to Max and Ken. Win for Ken. Max would tell you was mismanagement, but what's he gonna do? He's playing for next year. They're both playing for next year. Just trying to avoid the hosting, which hopefully I'm gonna avoid. But Max 39 runs, 13 homers. Yeah, that was about. Oh, that was Ken's numbers, and then Max a whip of 0.99. 6 saves, so taking care of there, but that'll keep him in it. But just trying to avoid the hosting the party, I guess.
Did you give Ken all your pitchers?
I did.
797.
Yeah, they got blown up.
I thought my ERA was bad.
Yeah, Pollock didn't do well, and then Yermain or German or whatever from the Yankees, he did, both of his starts were bad. I think everyone he had. Canning got lit up in that extra inning game, I know, and then Trinos. I wish he would have traded Trinos. Everyone was asking about him at the football meetings, and I'm like, that guy is why. But yeah, 2 teams going for next year don't look that good this week.
Yeah, so not really much to say here. We'll move on to mine and Scotty. A win for him, but at least offensively, I wouldn't say I was impressed at all by it. Just if he was playing anyone but me and Max, he would have lost most of the offensive categories. He was like 10th in most of the offensive categories. I don't want to be here to rip on Scott, but being
why not?
Team, okay, I'll say it. Put up these shitty numbers again. I know 1 week we were ripping him, and then he got all defensive about it. But other than runs on offense, it was horrible. 7 homers, 31 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, a 307 OBP. Those categories were all bottom third, other than stolen bases. He would have lost to most teams in runs, homers, RBIs, OBP.
Yeah, I think, this is the third week this has happened, right? I think it is. I I was gonna have it prepared and I was gonna go through it, but I mean that's just I mean we talked about this. We talked about Sean and talked about Scott, both of them having the fucking horseshoe. I just don't get it. Like if I would have played him this week, it would have been 8-2. The week he plays me, he beats me 9-1, I think it is. Where was it? I think week 10 it was.
Then last week he gets bailed out by having a hell of a Sunday. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Last week.
Here, this is what it was. This is week. What week was this? Week 10. So week 10 he played Dave, and he had 33 runs, 9 home runs, 19 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, and a 323 OBP. He won in every category with 19 RBIs. And then his pitching was 8 saves, 83 Ks, 4.46 ERA, a 1.11 WHIP, and 7 quality starts. The 33, 9, 19, and 5, and 323 that week. I think he would. I think we were talking about it again that week, and he would have lost almost that to everybody else as well. So I don't know what to say. The guy, Scotty, you got lucky. Your luck will not be this good come the playoff time.
Yeah, his offense is very streaky.
Yeah, I don't know how you hit 7 home runs and dominate like that. I just whatever.
When in the week, when you realized you weren't gonna win, and then when you realized you're gonna lose 10-0, when in the week was that? Don't kill yourself tonight, buddy.
But yeah, Scott took advantage of my team being what it is now, but very inconsistent offense, I would say. So it's going to come down. So
yeah, I mean, even your team, buddy. I mean, for talking about it, you usually got like power numbers. Like there's every week up until this week, I feel like I'm looking at your team and I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that?
Dumb.
So I mean, you should your team.
Well, Machado had no homers, and Bregman had no homers this week. So, and then obviously I traded both Santanas and that. So and Grandal. So in Abreu, I traded a lot of my power guys away. And then obviously Machado didn't hit any.
I love your team because the 2 guys you pick up in Soler and Yuri Gurriel did the best for you this week. Well, I guess Albies too, but yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, well, I guess we'd move on to the guest topic. But Niz is drinking his guest topic right now.
Well, no, okay. So, in all honesty, my guest topic is Matty wants to boast all the time. He comes on this podcast and he's the god of fantasy baseball. So I want to know, what's your strategy on pitching? Because pitching, like, I can figure out hitting. I think hitting is something that, like, most teams, like, it's not that difficult. It really is. Like, I think there's some teams that right now are mismanaging it and stuff, but I think hitting is, and for a guy that went 0-10, but like pitching, it's just so different. Like, what are you looking at? You said you wanted to help us. You want better competition. I want Matty to tell us, what are you looking for in a pitcher? How come every pitcher just like does well for like 2 weeks and then they blow ass for like the rest of the season?
I honestly, I don't think I can answer that. I don't know that. What I do, I guess, is that a fair? You want me to tell you what I do or how I kind of look at it? I guess.
What?
I mean, I can say that. So at the beginning,
your claim.
What?
Your claim is you are the god of fantasy baseball. Everybody else sucks. I want to know what's what's
pitching side of things.
Yeah, it's so difficult to find quality pitchers, and like I don't know. Like sometimes it's just weird to look at, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. So going to this season, I will say this, that the last 2 seasons prior, I thought I had some of the worst hitting, the worst Like I couldn't hit a home. I was always low on home runs. I was always low on RBIs. Stolen bases were okay. Runs I would always be 50-50 in runs. But my pitching was always good. I'd go after the, 2 or 3 of the top of line starters, and throughout the season I'd pick up 2 or 3 other guys that were just as good as top 10 player every once in a while. And I'm like, I need to focus on hitting. Like this year, I just got to focus on hitting. So when I listened to podcasts or I read an article or I did something like that, I looked for the guys I listened for the guys not in the high tier, not in the middle tier, not in the bottom tier, but underneath that, the sleepers, and the guys that were in the that could be good. And then I read an article actually on The Athletic. Drink. You didn't drink this. Just kidding. But that's true.
At this point, so
I just read the article on The Athletic saying like how there was like these and it was actually with Paul Spohr, how there's this the glob, if you will, is what they called it, the glob, and it was like from 30 something to like 72, or it was like 36 to 72 or 26 to 72, I don't know, somewhere in that range. And how the 71st pitcher is almost as good as this 30th pitcher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as I was going through this process, and I kept hearing some of these names come up, like Chris Paddock and here, I even have all these guys here. Who are the guys that were coming up? Yeah, we go down to the bottom list. These are the guys' names: Brad Peacock, Merrill Kelly, Justice Sheffield, Tukiki Toussaint, Brandon Woodruff, Chris Paddock, and Matt Strong. Those are the guys that I was like, I was targeting. And if you even want to go higher than that, I was looking at Anibal Sanchez, Zach Eflin, and Tyler Skaggs. And Derek Holland, for example. I mean, no one wanted Derek Holland. Stephen Matz, I liked, Kyle Gibson, and Sonny Gray. Those guys are higher than those guys. And I had to go deeper than that because I needed, pick up some guys on that. But I thought that, again, I think you need my philosophy on it. You need a stud. You need at least one stud guy, and then you need another guy that's going to give you the ratios that you want. My ratios that I always wanted, at least for this league, would be, I kind of look at the quality starts, but I like the high K guys. Anybody that's going to give me a lot of strikeouts, I love them. I fucking jizz all over them. I love it. And I had that going into it. I had John Gray. He typically gives you a lot of strikeouts, typically has, and I felt like with the little bit of a core that I had, I could do something with. And I mean, I don't know. It was kind of like what we said at the beginning, quantity over quality. I picked up.
Here's my issue, though, is like, I think it's like juice ball or whatever. There's so many runs being hit right now that it's so difficult to find. Like, okay.
Well, so that's what I did too, and just to stop you there, I did want to pick up guys in better ballparks because I felt like they always do well.
I think that's key. I think next year I am going to focus more on who plays where and like what teams and stuff.
Well, it doesn't always mean that too. What I like focusing on, and I still think Domingo Germán is one guy. Is it Domingo Germán? Who's from the guy I traded Ken from the Yankees.
German.
Yeah. He was one of those guys. He was on that cusp. He was really good at the end of the season, and
he was looking at too. Like I liked him a lot.
But you pair him with someone and I got lucky with him. I ain't gonna lie. And then same thing with Paddock. I got super duper lucky in him. I mean, I wanted Woodruff, and you could have got Woodruff at the after the draft, or you could have got him in the draft. And then I still wanted Merrill Kelly. I thought he would have been good coming over from Asia or wherever it was. And then you still look at two guys on that I've talked about, and they're I mean. Talk about like picking up a $2 player and see what they do for next year. I know one of them's on Drew's team, but Tukiki Toussaint and Justice Sheffield, those two guys, I could see one of those two guys being maybe not the Chris Paddock of this year, but I see Justice Sheffield maybe just because he's short, like someone like Marcus Stroman, and Tukiki Toussaint. I kind of look at him as like Brandon Woodruff, maybe Chris Paddock, something like that. So. I don't think it's anything. What I do is secretive or anything like that. I just kind of say what I do. I focused on hitters this year, and I think I did pretty well with it. My pitching staff had an ace and had a guy with high strikeouts, and I went with every lottery ticket that I could find on the bottom of the barrel because I didn't have a lot of money to spend with them because I spent $53 on Judge, and I listened to seriously probably 15 different podcasts, and on every podcast, every time someone said something about one guy, I heard it on another one. I kind of put a tick next to that guy's name, and I put it on another one. I put a tick next to that guy's name, and the names that kept it up more often than not were Paddock, Strom, Woodruff, and Domingo Germán. And then the other two guys, I had at the beginning of the season, I had a drop were Holland and what's it called? The other guy, the Shark from San Francisco, and they did well for me at the beginning. I dropped them, but they did well. So.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting, but yeah. So that was Niz's topic. Better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
It just me looking back on this season, like after this week, I really where did I go wrong? Like I just my whole plan this whole season was I want to make the playoffs because I think once you make the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. Do you guys realize how many times the sixth place team has won the championship? Because if you just get
it's happened more than once. I do know that.
Yeah, if you just get in the game, you're there, and it's like I felt like I was like, okay, I'm not going to be the best team, but I can be there, and I'm going to scare a lot of teams and stuff, but. The pitching has just dropped off so much these last couple weeks, and it's like I'm grasping at straws right now. Like I picked up Cashner and who was the other? Some other guy I picked up, and they're just terrible. Like the amount of pitching that's available at this time of the year, it's like just sort of.
And we won't have to belabor this and keep talking about it. And I'm not just picking fun of you, but we're talking about your team. Sorry, just what it is.
No, that's why
the Chris Sale move for your Sale trade. I get it, but I don't really get it. Like I think I'd rather have the guy Smith. Caleb Smith for 2 years at the cheap price than Chris Sale.
Okay, so my whole idea on that was.
Well, hold on, wait.
No. Everything that I had heard was. They're going to shut down Caleb Smith at the end of the year. They're like,
why would they do that? He was on the IL for that long. That's why they kept him on the IL,
right.
Or in the minors.
They have no chance of making the playoffs. So it's like, hey, we're going to keep our stud pitcher, good. And I didn't want. I felt like I was good enough to make the playoffs. That I was like, I didn't want to make the championship and go. Okay, well they're shutting down Caleb Smith because of innings and stuff. I'd rather have a guy that's going to actually play that last week,
Well, how about this? I'm just throwing this out there, but you had, and I think he's fantastic, but you have Gary Sanchez on your team, right? Your hitting has been good up until this week. You've had weeks that were just monstrous. Why not trade Gary Sanchez away? Doesn't hurt your hitting really at all that much. I don't think it does. Get an average. I'm sorry. Look at the catchers that are out there right now. You could go get the guy from Cleveland. He's got, I think, 14 home runs and 60 RBIs or something crazy like that. He would be a fine catcher to have on your team. Take Sanchez, trade him to Memo for a pitcher. Now you have Sale and you have Caleb Smith on your team. You lack the depth at starting pitching on your team, and adding players like Cashner and Max Fried.
You're totally right.
That's where you went. I feel like that's where you went wrong. That's all I'm saying. You could have. You needed more depth. I think you
picked up. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, let's go get in the box.
Damn straight. Dom usually says it. Was that the line, Dom? Sorry. Do you take it from me?
This is talking over me.
I'm done. I'm done.
All right. It's time for everyone's favorite segment. Let's go. Get in the box. It's Maddie.
A couple so let's go get in the box. They haven't been let's piss off the team. I fucking hate the league and everything like that recently. Because it hasn't been that much that I've had to bitch about. But this week I don't know. I saw least Ken bidding on players, not really picking them up. You know, Max I know is very involved in it. And then Memo, you know, a team that was outside of that bubble now is, you know, played. Looking at his team, he was moving around players this week and things like that. So let's go get in the boxes. Teams on the bottom, playing teams that are playoff bound and not making it easy for them. The one thing that is frustrating and kind of pisses me off, or whatever you want to call it, is that, like, you know, Dom, for example, why would you pick up a closer? You're not going to do it, and you don't have any though, do you, Dom?
No.
Yeah, so like, and I know we talked about this last week. Max kind of brought it up, like Says, for example, and like probably Ks, and for ERA and WHIP. If you think about it, you know, anybody that's going to play you or Dave or who else, Ken, you're gonna, for the most part, you're probably going to go into it already ahead 4 categories. So that's tough, and you know, it is what it is. This is the game we play, so I'm not bitching a fit about it. But what I like about it is that you guys are playing for it, and I think it's fun. This is turned out to be a really exciting year, I think, and even the players that are in the bottom half playing against these playoff teams are doing a really good job, and they're staying competitive. And I mean, look at you picked up Yuri Gurriel and Soler, you know, just because they're good players, and you know, I think that's fantastic. I love it. I really do like the way that everyone's playing this year. And
like, I want to do some other pickups, so I just don't have any open contracts.
So
yeah. So that's true. So,
Dom, I don't think you get enough credit, but this podcast, I think, has sort of helped revitalize this league. Because, like, in all honesty, last year I sort of felt like it got stale and everything like that. But you just having people come out here and just talk about this, and I know a lot of it is Matty sucking his own dick, but like, it was a great idea. Like, I'm jealous that you did it before I did, because I last year I was like, I got to do it for football, but I got to give all my credit to Dom for making this season a lot more fun than I've remembered in the last 10 years.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I'll even second that and say that, like, the first one you did when you went over the rank, the scores on it, I was like, damn, that's good. I like that. Was it exciting? No. Was it you just reading scores? Yes, it was.
Even the base one, like, was like just Dom going out there and creating something that made this league more fun. Dom, hey, bravo.
Yeah, I didn't think of what I was saying in the way that Niz kind of just spun it, I guess you can say. But I will agree with that. I think that is this podcast that we have does create more enthusiasm. I mean, if anything, it just, hopefully maybe people like, fuck, man, he's bitching about me. I don't want that to happen anymore.
Like, even every day, like, so Dave and I, you know, like we've talked about that on the podcast. Like, certain people see each other more. I work with Dave, so I walk in on Monday morning. You have
sex with them every once in a while.
Yeah. I walk in on Monday morning and I see Dave, and I'm like, hey, did you see what Tom said on the podcast? And yeah, like, I mean, it's a discussion point. Like, I don't.
It is.
You know, that's basically it. More people are talking about it. It's not just like now everybody's sold off and now we're not talking about shit. It's, hey, this is a lot more fun, and I think this is the reason why. So I'm looking for it. I really like Dom. Bravo again.
Thank you. I'm really glad that people have enjoyed it, and obviously come a long way from what I thought it was going to be. And a lot of it had to do with Maddie and stuff like that. And then obviously everyone else coming on, other than Drew and Chris, but everyone else has come on and has definitely made it.
Can we talk about Drew and Chris? Come on. I think it should be a league requirement next year. I'm going to put it up to a vote. If you're
that's a good one.
If you're not on the podcast at least 1 week, you can't be in the league. You're automatically kicked out.
You know what we should do is if you don't pay, you should be kicked out. I was on the Google Doc because I haven't updated it in a while, and I apologize about that. But Niz, you still owe me, by the way.
Oh shit! I'll send you money right now.
No, it's fine. I didn't mean to call you out. That's really rude. That was really bad. I didn't mean to call you out.
I didn't even realize. I thought.
I know. I never told you about it. But just the last get in the box type of thing. I do just want to we got 5 weeks left. We talked about on the last week's podcast about where like everyone was. Niz was. I gave Niz one of the easiest schedules. I guess I was dead fucking wrong on that. I just hope everyone continues to play and makes it challenging for these other fuckers. So,
do you have a beer of the week or no?
I do. Old Milwaukee. I've been pounding these.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Ooh. Now I actually had a beer of the week. It was a Shorty's. Had like a picture of 2 boats on it, but I drank all 6 of them on Friday.
All right. Well, that'll conclude this week's review. We'll move on to next week's. We'll kind of start with there's really 2 matchups that have that 2 playoff teams are going against. It's obviously you and PJ, and then Niz and Sean. I'm gonna throw a little life to Niz, but we'll start off with you and PJ, Maddie. 2 playoff teams, obviously. PJ with some solid offensive numbers, but we know your offense can put up the offensive number. Pitching, you both technically have 9. You would have 10 if Serger pitches, but it sounds like he's not going to pitch this week. So that both would give you 9. But I like your pitching over his. I got you winning 7-3.
Yeah, every time we do this and I look at it and I come up with a 7-3 or an 8-1, something crazy like those numbers, it always goes back to a 6-4. So I'm gonna go. I still think that OBP is a crapshoot for me, so I feel like I might lose that one. PJ's had a good offense here and there. My saves are crapshoot as well, but his team so. I think he wins that. What did you? I'm gonna go 8-2. What did you say?
7-3.
I'm gonna go 8-2. What else did you have me losing in besides those 2, or was it something different?
Well, I thought maybe K's. He both have the same amount of K starters, but I figured saves. I figured he would lose stolen bases, but what would he do in offense? I thought one of the offense could be close, but I figured pitching. You were going to take the pitching, most of the pitching, and most of the offensive stuff. So.
Yeah, I think I could take the quality starts. We'll see. His ERAs usually balloons a little bit, but you're right. The K's could be close if we get the same amount of guys going. I don't know. I think I can take the K's. So, yeah, 8-2. I'll take an 8-2. Probably exactly what I'm going to give.
Well, how you changed your mind?
I didn't.
I'm rooting for 10-0. You got me? What? It's my only hope. 10-0. Come on, Maddie. This is the only time I'm ever going to root for you because you're an animal. But go ahead, Maddie.
Wow, I got some cheerleaders in my corner this week.
Yeah. We'll move on. The next one has playoff implication as Niz and Sean. This is a big week, obviously, for Niz. Needs a big push. I know the IL, I mentioned it earlier, hurt him. But I wanted to like Niz's starting pitching more than Sean's. But Sean has that horseshoe, and I see Sean winning like 7-3, 6-4, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, I was gonna say a 6-4. Again, I don't know about the horseshoe. I don't know. We say that about Sean. Something like this happens, the next week goes out and he dominates. I don't know. His stolen bases were low again this week. His OBP. What did you have? What was your OBP this week?
299.
303. Close. Yeah, I'm gonna give Sean the edge here. But it's gonna be 5-4. 5-4, Sean.
What do you got them tying in?
OBP or saves.
No, I'm a crapshoot. I have no idea.
What?
I don't know if I'm going to win or not. I mean, I'd love to. Normally, I have a better idea, but after last week, how crappy I did, I I suck.
That's gotta be a first. Someone comes on the podcast and just goes for their team.
We will move on. I guess the next one is Drew and Memo. Another, I know what Memo's doing. I feel like offensively, Memo's not too bad. Obviously, Drew's one of the up there. I like Drew for starting pitching for Ks and quality starts. Drew's pitching will be the difference maker. I got Drew winning 6-4 on this one. It's because he's going to get Ks, probably quality starts, and he's going to get a couple in the offense over Memo. So I got him winning 6-4.
I have him winning 7-3. I think Drew's team is the best in the league, and yeah, he's one of the best. So,
I don't know. Yeah, that was a crazy week for Memo, right? I mean, we're gonna say that, right? I don't think we said that. I think like that was a crazy week.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything like that previously, so outlier.
I'm gonna go with Drew on this one, like a 7-3. I think there's some things that he could get, but yeah, 7-3 Drew.
All right, then the roster is me versus Ken, Chris versus Dave, and Scotty versus Max. We'll talk about Chris and Dave. This week should be where Chris can make up some ground, similar offense, but with Chris Dickens, punting stolen bases. But I think Chris should win pitching. I got Chris winning 7-1.
Yeah, I would. You got Chris winning 7-1. What are they tying in?
What stolen bases or saves? Saves. That was it. Saves. I got them tying saves. Dave had none. Chris had one. Chris has like 5 saves all year. I got them tying saves. So I got Chris winning 7-2.
Chris is gonna win 6-4. I think Dave's gonna pull out a couple categories. So,
I see 5-4. Chris has got a good team.
That's gonna cost you some beer. Show your lover. You're gonna have to give him some nice beer to make it up to him for talking bad about his team.
Yeah, but you say Chris has got a good team. What did you give him?
5-4.
That's not winning. We got a good team that's barely winning.
Listen, I can't go that negative on Dave. Like, I mean, he's my boy. We apparently have sex every Monday.
Why did you say Monday? I didn't even give a date.
As I said, I go in on Monday, and you're like, you guys.
Oh, I got it.
All right, we will move on to me and Ken, 2 teams playing for next year. I see Kenny winning offense, me taking pitching from him. I see like a 5-5 or a 4-4 tie, something like that. Stolen bases, saves are going to be
5-5.
It doesn't matter.
Really, I was going to say the same thing.
Does it really matter? I mean, like,
no,
Dom, I love you. You've revolutionized this podcast. You're brilliant.
Wow.
Okay, but Ken, you have a shit team, and when you talk smack at me, like everybody else can talk smack this week because I went 0-10. Your team has been at the bottom all year. It doesn't matter. You're a shit team. There you go.
And then lastly, Scotty versus Max. Scott gets another bottom team.
Of course Scott gets it.
This should be all Scott, but I think Mac could kind of keep it tight and make Scotty work for it. Scotty's offense takes it, but I got Scotty squeezing one out this time, 6-4 for Scott.
Yeah, I think Max is hopefully he's got something up his sleeve. Saves, maybe he can win. Maybe he can do the crazy thing he did the past week, ERA and WHIP. So I'll give him those 3, and then I'm just gonna throw another one out there that'll win. So Scott wins 6-4.
All right, so
no, I see Scott 8-2. I mean, he seems to win that every week.
Even when he doesn't produce, he wins. So yeah, that wraps up our preview. Niz, any closing words?
I'd like to thank personally my topic of the week, Jim Beam, and just say thank you, because 0-10 sucked, and you're amazing. Thank you.
And I still want to say that I've had a different email for I don't know how long, and Niz is still trying to send me money to a Yahoo email that I don't have. That's why I don't get invites from anything. It's a Gmail.
Okay.
It's a Gmail thing. But anyways, no, it was a fun week watching Niz suffer. I'm sorry. I had a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I hate rooting for BJ. I hate rooting for BJ. But hey, whatever. Oh, hey, just to clarify things, Scotty was saying that on last week's podcast, we made it seem like the people in the divisions, if you're higher in the division, and you were not in the first seed or the first
yeah,
of the.
You're right. Like you were saying that, no, because you guys were saying that about me and PJ, and
the way that, you're right. After actually Dom explained it to me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It did, after you explained it to me, it did sound like that. So
it's the top guy in each division is automatically in, and then there can be like one guy, and then the other 5 in the other division, but that'll never happen.
That is correct. But what we were saying was that PJ basically had no shot to get higher than where he is. The people above him are above him. The guys below him are below him. He's basically going to stay where he is, and he's going to make the playoffs, I guess. It's kind of that's what I was trying to say, but the way I said it was different than that. Yes. So that is correct what Niz said. Whoever's in the division winners get buys. Everyone else that below them that will make the playoffs will be seeded accordingly. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry for any
misconfusion on that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not completely out of it. Is there's like I could still catch people.
You know what, I still think I gave you the easiest record. I still think the 2 games at this time of the season, when you got 2 games against someone in your division, you're not out of it, especially when you two are actually fighting for a playoff spot. But I will say, so who's Sean playing this week, Domino? What did you say?
Sean's got Niz.
Niz, there we go. I don't know. He's got a crazy week, so I don't know. I was gonna say something else.
All right. Again, Niz, thanks for coming on. Enjoyed your guest topic. Next week's guest is Sean Oskey, the horseshoe himself.
When are you gonna have Chris and Drew on?
I don't know. Ask a good question. When they're going to be on. We'd love to have them on. But next week's guest is Sean. We're going into the final 5 weeks. We'll see what happens with these trade deadlines on Wednesday, if anything happens at all. It could be kind of interesting. It might affect some fantasy teams with closers and other things like that. But until next week, you stay classy, Chicago baseball.